I tell you, what I had to go through to bring this information out for you was like the only drama. I couldn't believe it. I was supposed to give you this information at 8 o'clock, right? After I finished the last video and then did some 25 to 25 reading. And there's always people that want to do it outside of the live stream. Okay. So, but it was still early. So when I came back to give you the information, I went, ugh. Literally, I heard myself go, ugh. And I like fell on the bed and I only had one drink. Because I'm mostly drinking teas and my Fiji water. Right? My Fiji water. So I'm like, I fell asleep. But it was like an induced sleep. And I had all kinds of downloads. And then they took me down memory lane to my past lives. When back in the days of the pharaohs of Egypt, And I'm like, okay, I know all about this. Just I know. They were telling me, or showing me the things that happened then that are gonna happen now here again. And then I woke up at 4 in the morning. It's now 4:45. Here I am. Well, that was crazy. When I finish the stream, I'm gonna stay live and continue the 25 for 25 readings. Okay. Well, without further ado, let me give you the 7 principles of magic or witchcraft or spell work. But before I do that, I feel that I have to give you a definition of what witchcraft means. Now, I know you've seen many videos that I've done on the subject. And I know that I've defined them, but I'm going to define it or redefine it now, right? Witchcraft is witch, and then you have craft. The word witch has several meanings depending on the culture they come from. It is where we get the word the witcher. The witcher is another name for witch. And what is a witcher? I know there's a series on Netflix called The Witcher. You need to watch it. Because that is the true definition, and the activities of a witcher is exactly what a witch, like myself, I'm a witcher, or a magician, or a magus, or sorcerer, or shaman. It all means the same thing. Right? One who has the Luciferian light, or the light of Lucifer. Lucifer the devil? No. It never meant that. That's the church shit. Right? Lucifer is the light bearer. But it's not just the light bearer, an actual light. No. It's an acronym. When we're making reference to light, we're making reference to knowledge. So the light bearer is the knowledge bearer. He who carries the knowledge, he who uses the knowledge. The witcher means the practitioner or the worker of hidden knowledge or knowledge. Okay? If you substitute light with knowledge, it makes more sense. So the word witchcraft means the knowledge or knowledge workshop. Craft is like an activity, a specific activity, like arts and crafts, right? So the word craft means activity. So when we say witchcraft, we're talking about knowledge activity or hidden knowledge activity or the activity of hidden knowledge or workshop. So to break it down so you can have a very bare definition of what the word witchcraft means. Now, what is spell work? There's a lot of mixed opinions within the occult about the meaning of the word spells. Spell comes from, well, it's not really necessary concerning the language, but a spell is to bring forth into existence through the use of language. So if I want to cast a spell, all I gotta do is utter the words. But because they are words, and words have power, we can also say the same thing about the written words. Okay, this is also a spell. When you do sigils, that's spell work because it's a language. Whether it is Roman, Greek, Latin, Hebrew, or if you're using runes, that's all language. And language, if it's a language, then you can cast a spell with it. Okay? And a spell is whatever intention you have, you speak it, and that's supposed to bring it into existence. That is a form of magic. Now, everybody has this ability to do that. Everybody, whether you're a magician or not. So if you're not a magician and you are still bringing into existence whatever comes out of your mouth, if you say it with true heart and intent, it will come out true. So one can say, well, damn, that person's a witch. Everybody has the capability of being a witch. The problem is whether you believe it or not. See, some people can bring things into existence by uttering them, but they don't call themselves witches. Why? Many of them feel that it has a stigma to it, a shame aspect to it, an evil association with the devil. So many people don't like to associate themselves with that term. But that doesn't mean that they're any less a magician or a witcher just because they don't like the word. They're still engaging in the activity of witchcraft, whether they know it or not. And these are people who are witches by default. And then you have those who are ordained witches or magicians or spellcasters or shamans or sorcerers who are either initiated to become these types of practitioners. And then you have another category of those who were born witches, sorcerers, shamans, spellcasters. And these come from a generational line of such sorcerers or shamans or spellcasters or witches, all the way to royal lineage of whatever country and race they come from. For example, myself, I was born a shaman or sorcerer. And I come from a long line, or another term that is used today with a lot of reservation, but it was used very commonly back in the day. And that's the term of a high priest. A high priest is a magician or a shaman or a witcher, no different today, and doing the same activities thousands of years ago to present day. Nothing has changed and nothing is new under the sun. Okay? So it's the same type of work, the same type of activity. And you have different levels of witches or sorcerers or spellcasters or shamans or sorcerers or high priests. When you are given the title of a high priest, you are all those titles in one. And usually the high priest, such as myself, because I'm all of those in one, the only activity that we do not belong to, unless we are trained in it, is astrology. Astrologers are not witches or witches or sorcerers or spellcasters or shamans or high priests. Now, you do have two categories of high priests. That of the witcher, which I mentioned, and that of the astrologer. If you are an astrologer, you're a high priest as an astrologer, but not as a witch or sorcerer or spellcaster or shaman. The exception will be if you are born under this lineage and then trained under this lineage to also be an astrologer. I happen to encompass both. I'm a high priest of both. Right? But I come from royal blood and royal lineage, going back to Hathor, okay? Which is 3,500 years ago, ancient DNA. Not everyone has royal blood or ancient lineage associated with Egypt or any other country of a high royal order. Right? With the Jewish tradition, you have the Levite priests. That's a royal lineage among the Hebrew. And you have many high priests that come from that lineage. No? And these are people that are born into families of these lineages and are groomed from birth like I was. That's very different from those witches that are just dibbling and dabbling and don't have training, don't possess the laws of how to effectively perform these acts of magic. And there are laws that are mostly knowledgeable by the trained and ordained and groomed witcher, sorcerer, spellcaster, shaman, or high priest. The person that dibble and dabbles, probably doesn't have that training, probably is someone that learns on the job, and has probably never read a book on witchcraft and has no clue as to the deeper layers of magic that needs to be known in order to discipline themselves into becoming an effective magician or practitioner. It takes a lifetime of learning, and there are certain rules and conduct that one has to engage in order to conserve energy, which is power, to be able to cast spells and magic. Because if you got a fucked up body and if you're sick, there's nothing worse than a sick witch. If you're sick or disabled or handicapped, you can't be a witcher or be a spellcaster or what have you. Because then that means that your energy, your vessel is compromised. If you're out whoring, having sex with Tom, Dick, and Harry, you can't be a witch. You can't be a sorcerer or spellcaster or shaman or witcher or high priest. Because you're giving your energy, your essence out to anybody. And when you have sex, not only are you giving away your essence, you're also pulling in energy from the other person. And that other person could be a murderer, could be a killer, could be stupid, could be ignorant. So now you're pulling in that energy. All this is important when you become a witch. Your energy has to be pure. You cannot be having sex all the time. You gotta learn celibacy and restraint. And you have to work on your kundalini energy, which entails a certain degree of masturbation without ejaculation. And this is true of women too. See, there are certain disciplines that have to be known, and you have to conserve and preserve your energy. The more you preserve your energy and the less you have sex and you refrain, the stronger you become as a magician, sorcerer, spellcaster, a witch, or high priest. Because it's all energy. Okay? And we haven't even gotten into the laws yet. These are just basic principles before we go into the laws. A word or two about covens. If you are a student witch or a practicing witch and you join a coven, the liabilities are higher and the consequences of making mistakes is far worse than if you are a solitary witch. That's why I don't join covens. Now, I can create a coven because I'm a very, very well-educated, well-disciplined, and well-trained and groomed high priest of all forms of magic. I can have a coven and train others. No. And I have to be someone of pure integrity. Because if the head of the coven is not someone of pure integrity, then whatever karma he's doing against society with his coven, not only is he going to pay for it, but all the coven members will pay for it too. And they may have nothing to do with his philosophy or his intent or his target. That's his shit. But if you're in a coven, not only will he pay for whatever infraction he may have caused or breaking of laws he may have caused, but the coven members will also pay for it, even if they are innocent in any participation in effectuating magic towards an individual target or a handler, as they call them. Right? For that to happen, the coven members have to know who the leader is, and they have to know, and not just know him or her superficially. They have to know them for at least 2 to 3 years, understand their habits, their integrity, how honest or dishonest they are. All of that has to be known before these people can enter into a coven and be under a leadership of a coven leader that they may not know nothing about. Because if they don't know anything about this person and they join that coven, and this person has evil intentions or an evil heart, then anything that comes out of that coven against another human being, for whatever reason, not only will he pay it, but every single coven member will pay that karma for that as well, for being associated with that person under the leadership of the coven. Okay? Very dangerous stuff if you don't know what you're doing. Again, there are laws to be respected and upheld. And I don't care if you're a dark witch or magician or you're a light one. Both have to respect these laws. The reason why this coven has not been able to come after me and succeed in bringing me down is because they have broken every single one of these laws. So now the upper gods are like, whoa, oh, no, he did what? He did what? What did the bitch do? And this is why they're all getting fucked up. And I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting pretty like a peacock. That's why I don't retaliate. I don't have to. Because I know, and the Creator, we know that these are spiritual laws that they're breaking, and they're digging their own graves. The first principle of magic is correspondence. Okay? The second principle of magic is law and order. The third principle of magic is vibration. The fourth principle of magic is rhythm. The fifth principle of magic is cycles. Many amateur witches and practitioners, with professional alike, are very familiar with the cycles one, but very few are familiar with the others. Okay? The sixth is the law of polarity. That's another one. You hear me talk about that a lot, don't you, right? And then the seventh one is the law of sex. I just told you, you cannot be out there fucking and then trying to be a witch. You can't be fucking jerking off and ejaculating and think that you're going to have enough energy to be a witch. All these things have to be respected and observed. And each one is a book in themselves as to procedures, okay, and laws, okay? I'm not going to go into details about them. I'm just letting you know what they are. If you're a magician and you're serious about being a magician, a practitioner, you will then do your work in learning these laws. There we go, guys. I gave you the laws. I hope this resonates.